What's up, YouTube? I'm back to talking, so listen up.
Das ist der Herr der
So first, yes, I did go to a Rammstein concert during the height of all the allegations against Till Lindemann. I don't know exactly what to think about the entire situation. I'm not really here to weigh in on that. I just went to the concert because I wanted to have a really good time at a Rammstein concert. So that's what I did. And I know that the whole situation hasn't entirely been cleared up yet, but it's kind of old-ish news at this point, and a lot of what is being accused doesn't seem, at least, to be 100% true. I I'm not going to talk anymore about that, really. I'm just here to talk about the concert and the experience that I had there. So apparently there were supposed to be like feminist protests going on outside of the stadium, outside of the concerts, which I saw absolutely none of that. Not saying that there wasn't any of that going on, but I feel like it was blown way out of proportion for the amount of publicity that that kind of stuff had. Pretty much everyone there, even in as left wing of a city as Berlin is, everyone seemed to be there to see Rammstein play and to support Rammstein. So take that as you will. The only real like mention like within the actual city itself where I saw that there were going to be protests was I was walking around Kreuzberg one day and saw some posters saying that there were going to be uh, protests outside of the concert on Saturday. I ended up going to the one on Sunday, so maybe that's part of the reason why I didn't see any of them. But yeah, I feel like it was still blown way out of proportion for what it actually was. Anyway, with all that out of the way, I did mention that I was going to make a video about this. All 11 of you who saw my most recent rant video will know that. But what I didn't mention is that my brother actually came to Berlin and visited me during this time, and he also went to the concert with me. In fact, he bought the tickets. Thank you very much. He was there because he needed a break from work. He went on a week-long trip through Europe. He spent the weekend in Berlin with me. Then the beginning of the week, he went to Prague, and the ending of the week, like the second half of the week, he went to Budapest, and that was his trip. But basically, like the highlight of his Berlin part of the trip was going to the Rammstein concert with me, which was a very, very nice brother experience. I was already quite a big fan of Rammstein before going. I had been listening to their stuff for a few years. I wasn't really huge into them before I started going to college, but after the concert, he became a much bigger fan of the band, which I would say is a success. So there were 3 shows in Berlin on this tour, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, which is the one that we went to, and then one on Tuesday. That night, we decided to take a taxi instead of public transportation to the stadium, and I don't know if it really would have mattered anyway if we did take public transportation. I just knew that it would probably be incredibly crowded on the trains, but it was still an incredible amount of traffic on the way there anyway, so you win some, you lose some. There were police cars on the street right as we were about to turn into the road that leads right up to the stadium, so we had to get out of the car pretty much right away. So we had to walk all the way from like the corner of the street there all the way up to the actual stadium. And first kind of peculiarity about this concert, I don't know if this is just a Germany thing or if this is like a huge band thing, like you might see this kind of at a Metallica concert too, but there were only Rammstein t-shirts being worn. pretty much at least 90% of the people who went there, like pretty much excluding me and my brother, everyone was wearing a Rammstein t-shirt. I don't know why it's like a custom in the United States where you're going to a concert and you specifically don't wear a shirt for the band that you're seeing. You wear a different band's shirt so that when you walk up to other random people, people will be like, "Oh, what band is that? What band is the shirt that you're wearing from?" And then that's how you start making conversation with people and talking about like other concerts that you've been to, but not at the Rammstein show. Another thing that I found even weirder, the only music that we heard pretty much from the time we exited the taxi to the time that we left and got into another taxi to go back to my brother's hotel was it was all Rammstein music. Even like all the car stereos were blaring Rammstein songs. Buskers were performing Rammstein songs. There was this guy playing an accordion who was playing, I think, Deutschland on the accordion. So that didn't even change when we entered the venue. On the loudspeakers, normally they'll play music from another band, but not at this show. They played a bunch of deep cut Rammstein songs, which, to be fair, I don't think they played any of the songs that they played over the loudspeakers during their actual concert. So at least that was different. But I can't say that about pretty much everything else that happened that night. Also, we were in general admission, so when you looked up to the right, up to the left, and to the back of the venue, there were screens all showing Rammstein music videos, but none of the music videos actually matched up to the songs that were playing over the loudspeakers, which I found kind of funny. Another thing that I thought was honestly pretty awesome, there were people in the crowd. Like you could get a beer from the concession stand, but there were people in the crowd with huge tanks of beer on their back, just ready to squirt it into into your cup. So when you were done with your beer, you could go up to them and, "Hey, ich möchte mehr Bier, bitte." And then they'll come over and be like, "Das ist 6 Euro." But it's worth it anyway because, hey, don't have to go to the concession stand to get more. There were also people in the crowd that were selling cocktails. I was like, this doesn't seem like the appropriate situation to be selling cocktails. Like an Aperol spritz at a Rammstein concert. That doesn't seem like what you're supposed to be drinking there, but they were selling out anyway, so I guess it was I guess it was money well spent for those people. Now, finally getting into the actual performance, starting with the opening band, which was a group of two female, I think French piano players called Abelard. I'm not entirely sure about the pronunciation. I'm not that great with French, but yeah, they got onto a stage kind of in the middle of the general admission area. So my brother and I and everyone around us had to turn over that way to actually see them perform. And guess what they played? If you guessed only Rammstein songs, you'd be correct. So they played about 40, I think 40 minutes. They played 10, I think 10 songs. But yeah, they only played Rammstein songs. And my brother was like, is this all that they're going to do? Are they only going to play Rammstein songs? And he looked at Apple Music for their like band page. And the one album that they have out right now is just a bunch of covers of Rammstein songs. So I guess they don't have any original songs yet. So whatever. I guess that's the reason why Rammstein wanted to bring them out on the road is because they would only play Rammstein songs, which I found pretty hilarious. Finally, around 20 minutes later, Rammstein finally starts their set, starting out with Till kind of coming from the top of this like elevator thing, singing the beginning of Ram Lied, going down very slowly. He's got the weird light thing in his mouth, which was pretty cool. But I'm not here to go about talking about the intricacies of an actual Rammstein performance at a Rammstein show. I'm wanted to talk about pretty much everything else that went on because of how interesting I found it. Yeah, if you're not familiar with what a Rammstein show is actually like, um, I don't know what to tell you. Go and watch videos on YouTube. It's a really incredible experience. But here are some of the peculiarities about Rammstein's actual performance. So I know a lot of bands do this, but it's not really that common in the grand scheme of things. Even if it's almost always fully scripted, there's normally some kind of onstage banter that bands will do between songs and stuff like that. Not Rammstein. I don't think Till said in a single word between any of the songs. The band just goes song to song to song to song nonstop. That's that's just what they do. They play songs, they play with fire, and that's pretty much it. Right at the end, after they were done performing, I think Till said like, "Thanks for being here and thanks for sticking with us," which I thought was pretty nice. But other than that, nothing. Also, another thing, likely because of the allegations and how bad of an image it would show if Till got on the canon during the performance. If you know, you know. But they did not play the song Pussy, which, luckily for me, that is maybe my least favorite. Like one of the few, if only Rammstein songs that I actually personally very much dislike. So glad they took that out of the set list specifically for me. Thank you. Yeah, perfect timing that I went when I did. Also, there was another guy just in the crowd that we met who, like before the performance, he heard me, my brother and I speaking English to each other, and he was like, was very interested in in talking to us because he's like, oh, there's Americans here at the Rammstein concert here in Berlin, so cool. And we had to explain to him that was not the only reason why we were in Berlin, but it was definitely one of the reasons why. But it was still nuts. He was very nervous about his English skills speaking with us, but once he figured out that I can speak German, he would not leave me alone pretty much the entire show. I know that he was there the night before. He knew what to expect because they played the exact same set list for all of the shows. So, but I wasn't there, so I kind of wanted to pay attention. But it was very nice, and I was very nice about him talking to me during the during the show. We ended up exchanging phone numbers, and Oliver, ich hab dich nicht vergessen. Yeah, so we had an incredible time. The highlights songs for me, I think, were Ramlied, just an absolute awesome intro. Mein Teil, if you know, you know. Zona, they pulled out all of the pyrotechnics for that song. The fire effect, like into the crowd during Du hast, like during the drum breakdown, it goes out and then back and then it's awesome. Du riechst so gut, Richard and Paul during the guitar breakdown section. They have like fire coming off of their arms. I thought that was really cool. And then my biggest surprise, the song Rammstein. That song, so much heavier live than it is on the actual album, which I was not expecting to have that song go as hard as it did. So yeah, I had a great time, and I wish they would have played more songs from Reise Reise. That's just me. I love that album. Also, it would have been awesome if they had replaced Pussy in the set list with Rosenrot, which is a song that they have literally only played 3 times during a 3-show stretch, just like this one back in 2009. So, yeah, just saying, the people want to hear it, and they'd go crazy for it. So, Rammstein, wenn ihr dieses Video schaut, bitte